Captain Tay stood at the viewport of the ship Harmony, watching the stars. Earth had just joined the Galactic Confederation after months of careful talks. His dark eyes reflected the distant lights as he considered what this meant for humanity. "Captain, Ambassador June reports success," said Lieutenant Han, approaching with a tablet. "The treaty is signed. We are officially recognized as Class 3 Deathworlders, but they've accepted our terms." Tay nodded. "And how did the aliens seem during the final meeting?" "Nervous, sir. Especially when our strength tests were shown. But Ambassador June was careful to emphasize our peaceful intentions. That had been the plan all along. Show enough of human capability to earn respect, but not so much as to cause fear. Earth was harsh compared to most inhabited worlds. Humans had evolved to survive conditions that would kill many alien species. This made some Confederation members uneasy. The Prime Speaker kept watching our delegation's movements, Han added. Like he was studying us. "We're different from what they know," Tay said. "It will take time for trust to build." 6 months passed. Trade routes opened. Cultural exchanges began. Humans took care to follow all Confederation protocols, even the ones that seemed pointless. They spoke softly in meetings, kept their military ships at a distance, and shared only basic technology. Then came the day when everything changed. Tay was woken by an emergency alert. The colony on New Sol had gone silent. All 20,000 settlers, no communication, no signals. "Could be a technical issue," suggested Communications Officer Sung, but her voice lacked conviction. Before they could investigate, reports came in about New Busan. Another human colony, gone dark. Then a third. The emergency broadcast from New Taegu arrived as Tay was meeting with Earth's military command. Governor Kim's face filled the screen, bloodied and desperate. "They came without warning," he gasped, emergency lights flashing behind him. "Confederation ships, at least 12. They're bombing the city center. They say we're too dangerous to exist, that our biology makes us a threat." An explosion rocked the governor's bunker. "This isn't a rogue attack. Their commander showed official orders. They believe they're protecting the galaxy from us." The transmission cut to static. 30,000 more humans, gone. The official Confederation message arrived 6 hours later, displayed on screens throughout Earth's United Council chamber. The recent action against human settlements was carried out by extremist elements not operating under Confederation authority. We extend our regrets for this unauthorized operation. Admiral Park, head of Earth's Space Forces, studied the message with cold eyes. "They're lying," she said. "Our intelligence suggests this attack was approved by at least 3 of the 5 ruling species." "Why?" asked President Lee. "We've followed every rule. Restricted our military presence. Shared our resources." Scientist Du, who had studied alien biology, spoke up. "Fear, Mr. President. Pure fear. We thought showing restraint would make them comfortable with us. Instead, it made them more afraid of what we might be hiding." The room fell silent as security footage from New Taegu played. Confederation forces moved through the streets, methodical and efficient. Not the chaos of extremists, but the precision of a planned military operation. "They think they've seen the worst of us," Admiral Park said. "They have no idea." 3 days later, a survivor named Sue was found in an escape pod. She had been a teacher on New Taegu. Her testimony chilled even the most hardened military officers. "They were talking as they moved through the school," she said, voice steady despite her trauma. "Discussing us like we were dangerous animals." One of them said, "Imagine what creatures from such a harsh world could do if they decided to conquer instead of cooperate." Another answered, "That's why we must act now, before they show their true nature." President Lee called an emergency vote. The decision was unanimous. Earth had tried diplomacy. Earth had played by the rules. Earth had hidden its full capabilities to make others comfortable. "Send the message to all human ships and colonies," President Lee ordered. Activation code Phoenix. Throughout the solar system, hidden shipyards powered up. Weapons platforms disguised as research stations revealed their true purpose. Military vessels that had been kept out of sight began to move. Captain Tay watched from the Harmony as his ship's civilian facade reconfigured, revealing weapon systems far beyond anything the Confederation had seen. "They thought we were dangerous when we were being nice," he said quietly. "Now they'll learn what it means to face actual Deathworlders." The emergency council chamber was silent except for Sue's calm voice. As the lone survivor from New Tegu colony, her testimony carried weight no politician's words could match. "They killed without emotion," she said, her eyes fixed on some distant point. "The alien commander, he told his soldiers to be thorough. Said our deaths were necessary for galactic safety." President Lee watched the faces around the table. Some showed anger, others fear, but all showed resolve. The attack had changed everything. "Our intelligence teams have intercepted communications," Defense Minister Kwan said, sliding tablets across the table. This was not a rogue action. The Confederation's ruling council approved the strikes. They call it preventative security. Admiral Park's fingers tapped a rhythm on the table edge. "They're planning more attacks. 2 battle groups have been spotted moving toward our outer colonies." "Do we have options beyond war?" asked Chief Diplomat Jean. His voice remained steady, though his hands trembled slightly. "Perhaps a demonstration of strength followed by renewed talks?" "They had their chance for talks," said General Day, her scarred face hardening. "They chose massacre instead." President Lee stood and walked to the window overlooking New Seoul. The city glittered beneath the dome that protected it from Earth's increasingly harsh climate. Humanity had survived its own planet turning against it. They would survive this too. "What are our real military capabilities?" he asked. "Not what we've shown the Confederation, but what we can actually do." Admiral Park activated a holographic display. Ships appeared far more advanced than anything humans had revealed to their alien neighbors. Project Aegis has produced vessels with capabilities beyond anything the Confederation possesses. Enhanced gravity manipulation. Weapons systems that work in conditions no other species can tolerate. And soldiers. She paused, bringing up images of specialized combat units. Soldiers who can fight in environments that would kill most Confederation species instantly. "We've been holding back," General Day added. "Following their acceptable military standards guidelines. Those standards were designed to keep species like us at a disadvantage." The room fell quiet again as everyone considered what this meant. Humanity had deliberately shown restraint, hoping for peaceful coexistence. Now that restraint had been interpreted as weakness. "There's something else you should see," said Intelligence Director Young. He played a recording of a Confederation High Council meeting, obtained through means he didn't explain. The alien voices translated clearly, "The humans control their strength now, but for how long? They evolved on a world that should be uninhabitable. Their biology allows them to survive radiation, extreme temperatures, and toxins that would kill our species instantly. If they ever decided to use that advantage. So we eliminate the threat before it fully develops," another voice responded. The colony strikes were just the beginning. President Lee turned off the recording. "They fear what we might become. We might have been their strongest allies," Chief Diplomat Jean said softly. "Now we'll be their worst nightmare." The chamber's central display showed the location of all human colonies and ships. Small lights, representing millions of lives, scattered across a small corner of the galaxy. "If we commit to this," President Lee said, "there's no going back. We will reveal everything we've hidden. They will know exactly why Earth is classified as a death world." No one spoke against the motion. "Very well," the president said. "Minister Kwan, prepare a formal declaration. Admiral Park, initiate the Phoenix Protocol." As the others filed out, Sue approached the president. "I was a teacher," she said. "I taught my students that violence should be the last option." "It was their choice," President Lee replied. "Not ours." "I know," she said. "But when you fight monsters, you risk becoming one yourself." Admiral Park overheard the exchange. Later, as she activated the hidden defense grid that surrounded Earth's solar system, she thought about Seuss' words. In her command center deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Park watched as dormant warships powered up throughout the asteroid belt. Combat units received new orders. Research stations transformed into weapon platforms. Her second-in-command, Captain Min, stood at attention. All units report ready. The Confederation fleet near Saturn's rings remains unaware of our deployments. Good, Park said. Our first strike must be overwhelming. Show them exactly what they should have feared all along. Rules of engagement? Min asked. Park considered this carefully. Destroy their military vessels. Capture their command ships when possible. Minimize civilian casualties. Even after what they did to our colonies? Especially after what they did, Park replied. We will show them the difference between their brutality and our restraint. Between their fear and our discipline. The first human counterattack launched 3 hours later. The Confederation ships near Saturn never had time to send warnings. Commander Un stood frozen on the bridge of his ship, the Divine Light. Warning signals flashed everywhere. His crew, the best in the Confederation fleet, worked frantically at their stations. Sir, the human vessels have changed, said his sensor officer, voice shaking. They're different now. Un stared at the display. The human ships had seemed so basic before, simple designs with adequate but unremarkable technology. Now, those same vessels had transformed, revealing weapon systems and propulsion capabilities far beyond what humans had ever demonstrated. Impossible, he whispered. Their specifications were thoroughly documented. Sir, they're accelerating at forces that should kill their pilots instantly, the officer continued. And their weapons are cutting through our shields like they aren't even there. The Divine Light shuddered as another blast hit its side. Un had commanded this battlecruiser for 12 cycles, through 3 major conflicts. Never had he felt fear like this. Send the alert to all Confederation forces, he ordered. The humans have concealed their true capabilities. This is not the enemy we prepared for. Before the message could be sent, the ship rocked again. Emergency lighting bathed the bridge in red. Hull breach in sections 4 through 7, reported the security chief. They've boarded us. How? Our shields were still at minimum function. They came through the radiation zone after the engine hit. They're walking through radiation levels that should be instantly fatal. Colonel Hyun led her squad through the damaged Confederation ship. Her exoskeleton suit enhanced her strength and protected against the radiation, though she could have survived brief exposure even without it. Years of training in Earth's most extreme environments had prepared her team for exactly this scenario. Remember, she said through the tactical channel, we need prisoners in data. Set weapons to stun when possible. They encountered the first Confederation soldiers at a junction. The aliens fired energy weapons that scorched the corridor walls. Fun's team didn't slow down. Their armor absorbed or deflected the shots as they moved forward with methodical precision. Stand down, Hyun announced in the Confederation standard language. Surrender and you will be treated according to war conventions. The alien soldiers dropped their weapons, eyes wide with shock. Later, Hyun stood before a captured Confederation officer in the ship's command center. The alien was tall and thin, with large eyes that blinked rapidly in the standard lighting. You lied to us, the officer said. All this time. You pretended to be less than you are. No, Hyun replied, removing her helmet. We showed you what we wanted to show you. You assumed it was everything. Your bodies, how can you survive these conditions? The gravity shifts alone would break our bones. We evolved on a world you classified as a death world, Hyun said simply. What's harsh to you is normal to us. Across 3 star systems, similar scenes played out as human forces revealed their true capabilities. Ships that had been registered as civilian transports deployed advanced weapon systems. Research stations turned into military command centers. Even the colony ships, thought destroyed, had managed to save many of their people in hidden bunkers designed to withstand attacks far worse than what the Confederation had delivered. In his command center orbiting Earth, Grand Admiral Go received the reports with grim satisfaction. On the main view screen, Confederation forces were retreating from every engagement. "They're sending out distress calls," reported his communications officer, claiming we've violated treaty terms by hiding military technology. "Interesting complaint from those who violated the peace by attacking our colonies," Go replied. "Put me through to all our forces." When the channel opened, he spoke clearly. "This is Grand Admiral Go. Phase 1 is complete. The enemy now understands they face a force they didn't prepare for. Begin Phase 2 targeted strikes on Confederation military infrastructure only. Avoid civilian casualties wherever possible. Remember, we are not them. We do not kill indiscriminately, even in war." On the captured Divine Light, Colonel Hyun's team downloaded the ship's database. They found detailed plans for the colony attacks, along with something more disturbing. "Sir," she reported to Admiral Go, "they have a classification system for potential threats. Humans are listed as Class A, terminal concern. Their long-term plan was always elimination, not coexistence." Go's face hardened on the screen. Then they should have struck harder the first time. Because now they'll learn what a true Class A threat looks like. Commander unwatched from detention as the humans efficiently repaired his ship, making improvements as they worked. One of the human engineers noticed his stare. "Your engines were operating at 60% efficiency," the engineer said casually. "We can get them to 85% with some minor adjustments." "Why would you improve an enemy vessel?" An asked. The engineer shrugged. "Because we can. Because doing things better is what we do." He turned back to his work, then added, "And because maybe someday this won't be an enemy vessel anymore." Outpost Zenith was considered unassailable. Built into an asteroid field surrounding a valuable mining planet, the Confederation had spent years fortifying it against any possible attack. Energy shields linked dozens of defense platforms. Automated weapon systems covered every approach. No conventional force could breach its defenses. General Min wasn't planning a conventional attack. "The asteroid field is our advantage, not theirs," she told her officers aboard the command ship Determination. "They think it's a barrier. We'll use it as cover." The officers studied the holographic display showing thousands of spinning rocks and chunks of ice. Conventional military doctrine would avoid such hazards. Human ships would embrace them. "Stealth units will move through the densest sections," Min continued. "Strike teams wearing radiation-shielded suits will use the solar flares as cover for their approach. The Confederation forces cannot operate in those conditions." "And if they detect us early?" asked Major G. Min smiled slightly. "Then they'll learn why Earth animals are so dangerous when cornered." The attack began during the system's periodic radiation storm. Confederation sensors were partially blinded by the electromagnetic interference. By the time they detected the human ships moving through the asteroid field with impossible precision, it was too late. Commander Roxton of the Confederation Defense Force couldn't believe the sensor readings. Human vessels were navigating gaps barely wider than their ships, at speeds his own pilots would never attempt. Strike craft were flying directly through radiation zones that should kill any living pilot instantly. "How are they doing this?" he demanded of his science officer. "They seem to have enhanced protection against radiation," the officer replied, mandibles clicking nervously. "And their pilots appear capable of withstanding G-forces that would render our species unconscious." A human voice broke through on all communication channels. "Confederation Outpost Zenith, this is General Min of Earth Forces. Your outer defenses have been breached. Your communications satellites have been disabled. You are surrounded." Roxton looked at his tactical display. Somehow, human ships had penetrated the asteroid field from all directions. His best escape route was already blocked. "We will never surrender to Deathworlders," he declared on the open channel. "We stand ready to die defending the Confederation from your kind." There was a pause before General Min responded. Commander Roxtan, we have disabled your weapon systems but deliberately avoided striking your life support and civilian sections. We could have destroyed this outpost completely. Instead, we offer terms. Roxtan's second-in-command leaned close. Sir, they've had clean shots at our reactor cores. They haven't taken them. Surrender your military forces, Nin continued, and your civilian personnel will be unharmed. Any who wish to return to Confederation space will be transported safely. Those who choose to remain under human protection will be treated fairly under our laws. And our military personnel? Roxtan asked, unable to keep the suspicion from his voice. Will be treated as prisoners of war under Earth conventions. No experiments. No torture. Proper food, medical care, and communication rights. Roxtan had been prepared for death, prepared for the savagery he had been told to expect from humans. He had not been prepared for mercy. It confused him more than any weapon could have. Why would you offer terms, he asked. After what we did to your colonies? Min's voice remained level. Because we are not what you think we are. Yes, we can fight in conditions that would kill your species. Yes, we have technology we kept hidden. But we also have principles that we don't abandon, even in war. Roxtan looked around his command center. The faces of his crew showed the same bewilderment he felt. Everything they had been told about humans contradicted what they were experiencing now. I require proof of your intentions, he said finally. Understandable, Min replied. Open your docking bay 3. We will send an unarmed shuttle with medical supplies for your wounded. Inspect them as you wish. Then make your decision. 2 hours later, after confirming the medical supplies were genuine and not a trick, Roxtan made the hardest decision of his military career. He surrendered Outpost Zenith to human forces. As General Min's troops secured the station, they maintained strict discipline. No Confederation civilian was harmed. Military personnel were detained but treated with respect. When a young Confederation maintenance worker collapsed from stress, a human medic immediately provided treatment. News of the fall of Outpost Zenith and how it had fallen spread quickly through Confederation space. In the High Council chamber, representatives argued bitterly. They could have destroyed it completely, said the representative from Nelbora. Instead, they specifically targeted military assets and spared civilians. A trick to make us lower our guard, countered another. Or proof that we gravely misunderstood them, suggested a third. Perhaps they truly did want peace before we attacked them. The debate continued as human forces pressed forward, system by system, always with the same pattern: overwhelming military force, precise targeting, and mercy for those who surrendered. The great crystal towers of Illumina had never seen war. The Confederation capital world had been built for beauty and harmony, not defense. When human ships appeared in orbit, panic spread through the gleaming streets. Citizens rushed to shelters, expecting the bombardment to begin at any moment. The ruling council members prepared for the worst, having seen how quickly human forces had moved through their defenses in recent weeks. But no attack came. Instead, a single ship requested permission to land a diplomatic vessel carrying President Lee, Admiral Park, and a small security team. Why would we allow you to land? Asked Prime Speaker Zal through the communication channel, his large eyes blinking rapidly. Your forces have overwhelmed our military. Now you come to demand our surrender in person? We come to offer peace, President Lee replied simply. One that respects both our peoples. After hours of debate, the council granted permission. The human ship landed at the Grand Plaza, surrounded by Confederation security forces. President Lee stepped onto Illumina soil, breathing air that had been adjusted to match Earth's composition, a courtesy that surprised him. Admiral Park and 6 human soldiers followed, their posture alert but non-threatening. The Grand Council chamber was a vast room with curved walls that seemed to catch and amplify sound. Representatives from 200 species sat in tiered seating, watching the humans with expressions ranging from fear to hatred to cautious curiosity. Prime Speaker Zal stood at the central podium. You have defeated our forces. What terms do you demand? President Lee walked forward, stopping at the visitor's position. Before we discuss terms, I want to show you something. He activated a small projector. Images appeared in the air: humans treating wounded Confederation soldiers, protecting alien civilians during battles, rebuilding damaged infrastructure on worlds they had captured. You attacked us because you feared what we might become, Lee said. You saw our world, our death world, and assumed we must be monsters in waiting. He paused, looking around the chamber. Yes, Earth forged us to be strong. We can endure conditions that would kill many of you. We can fight in ways you find terrifying. Admiral Park stepped forward. But that same harsh world taught us the value of cooperation, of compassion, of restraint. Murmurs spread through the chamber. This was not the speech of conquerors. During your attacks on our colonies, Lee continued, your forces showed no mercy. They killed civilians systematically. Yet in our counterattacks, we specifically targeted military assets. We offered surrender terms at every engagement. A strategy to minimize your losses, challenged a council member. No, Admiral Park replied. A reflection of who we are. She walked to the center of the chamber, her movements measured. We could have bombarded this world from orbit. We could have demanded unconditional surrender. Instead, we come with terms for peace. The terms were displayed for all to see: recognition of human territory, reparations for the colony attacks, and a new position for Earth in the Confederation. Not as a minor member, but as an equal partner with the founding species. This is not a punishment, President Lee explained. It's a recognition of reality. Humans will not be feared, but we will be respected. The debate lasted long into the night. Some council members argued for continued resistance. Others pointed out the futility of fighting against a species that had concealed so much of their capability and still showed restraint in victory. In the end, the Confederation accepted the terms. As the human delegation prepared to leave, a young alien scholar approached President Lee. I have a question, if I may, she said, her translator capturing the nervousness in her voice. Of course, Lee replied. Your people could have destroyed us. Why didn't you? Lee considered his answer carefully. Because destruction is easy. Building something better is harder and far more worthwhile. 5 years later, the rebuilt colony of New Tegu hosted the first interspecies cultural exchange. Where once there had been destruction, now stood new structures designed by both human and alien architects. An alien doctoral student named Kelva walked through the memorial garden with her human guide, Sue, the teacher who had survived the original attack. I still don't understand, Kelva admitted. How did humans forgive what was done here? Sue stopped beside a fountain built from the remains of the governor's building. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, she said. It means choosing a better future over a cycle of vengeance. She pointed to children playing nearby, human children alongside young aliens from 5 different species. On Earth, we have an old saying, the best revenge is living well. After the war, we could have isolated ourselves or ruled through fear. Instead, we chose to build this. Kelvin nodded slowly. My research suggests that Deathworlds create species that are either extremely aggressive or extremely cooperative. Humans seem to be both. We can be either, Sue agreed. The Confederation's mistake was pushing us toward the former when we preferred the latter. At the center of New Tegu stood a simple memorial stone where Governor Kim had made his final broadcast. The inscription read, "We would rather extend a hand than form a fist. But never mistake our preference for kindness as an inability to be otherwise." The galaxy had learned this lesson well.